Welcome back to another reaction video, and more specifically, and more importantly, a brand new Sleep Token release. We're super excited, aren't we, babe?
We are very excited and also a little nervous. I don't know if you feel this way or if you guys do, but every time they put out a song, I want so badly for it to be everything that I hope it will be, and I just get nervous about it.
I think most people, because of how deeply they connect with the band, probably feel that way. I definitely do.
I just want them to do great things, and they haven't let me down yet, so...
It's like that best friend you just want to win.
I want them to win.
Before we get stuck into this, a big thank you for all the kindness, the love, the support. You showed up in full force on our reaction to Emergence, and no surprise, but I looked through the comments and my beautiful, lovely other half, B, was a big hit with everybody. So she's back. Took a bit of convincing, but she is back. And I quite love having you here.
Thank you. I am very happy to be here, and thank you very much, everybody, for all of your kindness. It was very overwhelming in the best way to see and read all of your comments and you guys taking the time to say such nice things. It really warmed my heart. So thank you. It
was fun watching her squirm. I hold the phone up. I'm like, babe, look, they're being really nice. You were really sweet.
I'm really good at taking compliments.
Sweet like caramel.
Oh, geez.
Had that in my pocket for a few days.
Good job.
Let's get stuck into it, shall we? No predictions yet, because I quite like being surprised and holding something a little secret to my heart when we look at these. But without further ado, Sleep Token, Caramel. Let's see what you got.
Count me out like sirens, pay back for the good times. Right foot in the roses, left foot on a landmine. I'm not gonna be there, tripping on the grapevine. They can sing the words while I cry into the baseline. Wear me out like Prada, devil in my detail. I swear it's getting harder, even just to exhale. Backed up into corners, bitter in the lens. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take your mind. So stick to me like caramel. Walk beside me till you feel nothing as well. They ask me, is it going good in the garden? Say I'm lost, but I beg no pardon. Up on the dice below, on the cards, I try not to talk about how it's harder now. Kinda get embarrassed on stage, looking sideways. Some of your bizarres getting worse every time they try to shove a real name just to get it worse from me. Acting like I'm never stressed out by the hearsay.
We're stopping right there.
Wait.
I am not someone who typically focuses on lyrics. In the first place, it takes me quite a few listens before they are something that I invest in. I'm melody first, music first. And I am that in this case, but I'm hearing some things. I'm hearing some very strong words, and it's sitting on top of what is traditionally quite a happy, uplifting beat. So there's a conflict in the message and the melody, right? And that's great because that's a purposeful decision. And I'm going to say one thing quick, but I want to hear your thoughts with this. This band has what I believe to be a borderline impossible task. We all know what music means to people. Its power, its ability to heal, to connect, to create memories. And they know that more than anybody. And they have to balance the audience's deep connection and expectation around their music doing that historically with whatever creative outlet they choose to use as a vessel, no pun intended, for the message they have at that moment. And I think it's one of the biggest problems hyper successful bands have, because they can never win. And I think it's because they aren't trying to. There's nothing that annoys me more than when people say it doesn't sound like Sleep Token. According to who? Because the guys who recorded this track think it does, and that's good enough for me.
Whew. Yeah, I think I explained in the last video. I certainly cling to the music. That's where I initially feel the most. But I'm not catching all of the lyrics because his cadence is always really interesting to me, and what he chooses to do with that. And sometimes it's hard to catch it, especially on a first listen, or if you haven't, read through the lyrics to start with. But I caught a couple things in there that are interesting to me. I think there was something about, he mentioned having a mirror on stage or something like that. And something, I didn't catch them exactly, but something about looking at himself in the mirror on a stage, like kind of doing some sort of self-reflection or assessment. And then there's something in there about people wanting to call out his real name or something.
Yeah, I heard that.
To get a rise or something like that, which if you've been anywhere near Sleep Token in the last, certainly in the last couple of years, that's been a big thing about people wanting to reveal their true identities and kind of making it about being the first ones to tell you who they are and all of these things, and the protection of their anonymity and all of that. So it's almost like a commentary on that. I'm curious. I'm going to have to go back and read the lyrics, of course, but I want to know if this is a response piece to a lot of what's surrounding the band as of late. Because they're not the only band that have come out with tracks like that as a response to...
Well, Architects did a great one with Seeing Red, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting you said what you did, and I'm going to go back because I just want to catch that line a bit better. So I'm going to go back a little. I don't typically do this, but I do have a very, very high quality singer sitting right next to me, so I'd be kicking myself if I didn't. We'll go back a little bit. We'll go back there and hopefully we catch it. But I always wonder, there's a lot of complexity in the build-up and in the release of music, and they will know exactly what songs are earmarked to be singles, and they will have a lot of control, last-minute control over what gets released in what order. Now, there are certain things that get set in motion from a marketing point of view that you can't undo, but they are very smart in the timing of these things, and it made me wonder, as you said that, is this a track that was meant to be the second single, or did they switch the order up in response to how the community acted according to the first one? And that is something that happens. I know of bands that have done that. I think the other thing to just quickly say is while they express a lot of emotions through their music, these are adults, and these boys don't need our protection. They need our love, they need our support, and it is our duty to obtain, consume, and worship. No more.
Acting like
We are stopping right there because I can tell you, whenever a song is roughly 4.5 minutes, this is your definitive bridge slot. It happens after a second verse, and it is the band's opportunity to create a moment of suspension, however brief. And what that means is a distraction from the original or mainline melody to allow your body to get comfortable in another musical melodic universe before it's shocked back into the reality of what you now know to be the song. That's a lot of words. This, just a note to you, doing this with you makes me happier than I will ever be able to use words to explain. And I am so grateful you're my wife, and I'm so grateful that you're my best friend and that we get to enjoy this together.
Oh, God. You can't do this to me every video. But thank you for your kind...
If the cameras weren't on, I would be giving you the biggest kiss right now.
Oh, thanks.
What do you think?
I love this. I love what he's doing with lyrics. He's basically, again, not catching every single word, because you could never, but the lines of something about, I just want to hear you sing that top line, and I just want to see your hands. Like, it's such a, I want to say that this is such a love letter to fans. Like, and
a harsh one.
Yeah, but love is harsh sometimes. So I think it is coming from a loving place and really being able to speak his mind in what maybe he does deem as a loving interaction between audience and band.
A boundary setting tone.
Yes. And that's important because it is far too easy for audiences to perhaps cross boundaries and be unnecessarily harsh or inappropriate or intense or, you know, selfish. And it's not necessarily done with like ill intent, but it's, I think, because most of us have that common thing where we just want so badly for them to be wonderful and have success. And like we were saying at the beginning, like we get so passionate about, you know, what they're doing and rooting for them that it can, if we're not careful, take a negative turn. And this is his way of saying, hey, here are some things. Here's me setting some boundaries. As long as we can find that common ground and there can be this mutual respect, I'm telling you this out of respect. Respect us. And then this can be even greater than it has been, which is hard to imagine because it has been such a great journey this whole time, you know, that we've known them. It's really sweet.
I love what you're saying because this is normally the kind of thought I would have 2 or 3 listens in, sitting on the couch, but having you say it, and it's just stay forever. Just a quick musical thing, bit of a nerd with this, but when it starts out, you get that, you hear in a lot of dance music, it's a traditional African kwaito beat. It's that. And what that typically does in that genre is create your through line. So it creates, it's almost a percussive melodic through line that sits consistently. And you hear synth changes, vocal changes, melodic changes on top of that. And the one thing that drew me to Sleep Token to start with was when I first listened to them. I don't know if it was Jaws that I heard first. Calcutta was the first one I heard. And in both those songs, actually, there is this melodic through line that they have present in everything. And it's not that they've moved away from it, but when you start out with that slight little like kind of xylophone sound in the beginning, what it does is create peaks of musical amplification in certain moments with a very sharp attack and a very slow decay. And it creates the illusion of emptiness. It's not empty. There is the memory of that sound, and it's building this canvas that you perceive to be blank in parts, but it isn't. It's like putting a pamphlet down on the chair next to you to keep a seat for a friend. It looks empty, but it isn't. It's taken. And it's taken by all those little musical notes that drift on top of it. So when they start to fill that up, it feels like it's sitting on something that wasn't there. So there's this like perceived increase in amplification and fullness. And that's how you get to do that. It's a very talented engineering and production method. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out. Let's listen more. One other thing I forgot to say. I am telling you, it's going to get heavy.
You think?
I know.
Okay.
I'll take what I'm given, the deepest incisions. I thought I got better, but maybe I didn't.
Dude?
Hey. When did anybody say it was okay for them to turn into a black metal band? Just for a second.
Well, the irony of what you're saying is that there is this ongoing debate of are they or aren't they metal? Let me help you answer that. Depends on the part of the song you ask the question. And the beauty about that is there are so many ways to explore emotion and portray emotion through music. And one of them is through the light and shade element, which is the major verse minor chord, the clean verse distortion, the slower verse quicker beat. And when you add things like aggression and screaming and distortion to those, you end up with a very, very big contrast, which I'm sure is somewhat representative of the excitement of launching this album and maybe some of the negative that has to follow with it. Now, this was written many, many moons ago, I'm sure, so it's not written in response, but I think it's what's making me think that there might have been a rejuggling of the tracks.
Maybe. I mean, I'll never get tired of their seeming randomness when it comes to the different sounds that they produce. And the constant, you talk about, what did you say? Shading?
Light and shade.
Yeah, light and shade. I feel like there's a common theme that happens with them throughout pretty much most of their catalog, where there's often this element of something opposites, hard and soft,
It's contrast.
pretty and ugly. One of the earliest things that I can think of is the Jaws video. Lots of lace, lots of delicate touch, but also a cockroach on somebody's foot, I think. Or when Sundowning came out and they did a lot of visualizers, there was one for Give, which you never reacted to, but you've heard. And the visualizer was in pink, but it had a lot of like a snake. Like there's a lot of contrast in what they do, whether it's in songs or just in albums. You know, that's where you would get your Do You Wish That You Loved Me?
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of songs, those lighter, easier listens.
Sugar.
Sugar is another one. They're so great at doing that it makes me like not angry, just I don't know. Tense is probably the best word for it, in the best way.
Well, I'm not mad when you're tense in the best way. But, you know, a couple quick things. This will be a longer video, and it should be. And thank you for sticking with us and watching as much as you have. Stop worrying about putting this in a box or trying to reshape a box or trying to put another shape. It doesn't matter. Stop worrying about if it's something or if it isn't. It is. It is both yes and no. Stop using energy trying to pinpoint the origin or the exact moments of where it fits into a genre, because you're missing out on loving it in that moment. You're depriving yourself the joy of that initial first listen by overthinking and overcomplicating the process. Now, that sounds like a bit hypocritical coming from me, whose job it is to overthink it. But there's a difference between that and active listening. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up, because I noticed this as part of when the track's kind of sitting waiting to premiere. And I'm not talking about the teaser. It's in a building with the banner burning. And the previous Emergence was in a garden, a garden a little bit like Eden, with a building in the background. And so now we're in that building, it looks like. So it's this progressive story. But the thing that gets me is there's this black flamingo, or Jerry as everyone calls it. And I looked at that and I thought, I've seen those black feathers. And then it clicked. I saw them in the armor, the wings of the figure in Take Me Back to Eden. And Emergence looks like it's in an Eden-esque environment. So is this then all a prequel? Oh God, I'm in the lore now, aren't I?
You must understand how wonderfully hilarious this is, because this is so not where you initially go.
No, it's never.
You typically don't dive into the lore of it all. You're literally just here for the music.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. So to hear you say those things makes me just love you even more.
Thank you.
You're so cute.
Well, look, let's wrap this one up. It is not up to us to decide what is or isn't Sleep Token. It is up to them, and it can change whenever they want it to. And it is our job to simply support and love them through their creative exploration as they explode onto a mass global market and face challenges and hurdles that we will never ever know about. It is our job to support and love them. And yes, as a community, we will face challenges as a fan base as we grow with them. Some challenges being new fans and everything else. I actually did a video about this, which I'll put a link to in the description. But wolves don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. Do not buy into the trolls and the negativity. Remember the reason you found this band. Remember the reason why you stayed. And that'll be good enough.
Amen.
We'll catch you at the next one.
And what is it? Be safe, be nice to each other, and have a damn good day.